A briefing begins, confident voices promise certainty, and decisions are made before anyone questions the fragility of these predictions. Weeks later, the outcome surprises everyone, and the post-mortem blames bad luck rather than flawed thinking. Forecasts fail because people treat complex systems as simple machines, then speak with certainties they cannot justify. The solution starts by replacing yes or no claims with probabilities, clear definitions, and timelines that can be verified. Better forecasting reduces avoidable surprises because plans can match realistic uncertainty rather than wishful confidence. It also enhances learning, as every forecast becomes feedback on judgment, not just a headline. Imagine a team reviewing a geopolitical question, breaking it into parts and assigning ranges instead of single dates. As new reports emerge, probability estimates adjust and the team records what changed. Next, you will learn how good forecasters keep score, update their beliefs, and work in groups to improve accuracy. This video is inspired by Superforecasting by Philip Tetlock and Dan Gardner, and please subscribe for practice using probabilities, updates, and scoring. Forecasting works best when uncertainty is expressed as a number, as using numbers makes commitments explicit. Calibration means that your 80% call should occur about 80% of the time, not just feeling confident. Resolution is important too, because staying near 50-50 avoids being wrong, but also avoids being useful. Good forecasters adjust probabilities higher or lower when evidence warrants it, then accept the scoring consequences. In a tournament question with a clear deadline, one person posts 60% repeatedly and never learns much. Another person revises from 40 to 55 to 70 as facts change, and the score reflects that learning. This approach treats forecasting as a measurable skill, not a mysterious gift reserved for famous pundits. Once forecasts are numerical and testable, improvement becomes possible through feedback, comparison, and steady practice. Start by translating a confidence statement into a probability range, then define what would count as a clear outcome. Keep a small log of your probabilities and dates so you can later compare confidence with reality. A useful forecast starts with an outside view, which anchors your estimate to base rates from similar cases. Then, an inside view tests specific pathways, asking what must be true for each hypothesis to hold. Base rates prevent wild swings driven by the latest headline, especially when emotions tempt you to overreact. Hypothesis checking reduces aimless information hunting, as evidence is gathered for and against each possibility. Consider a question about whether a policy will pass within a short window, and begin by counting similar past votes. Next, adjust that baseline for new factors, like shifting alliances or public opinion, and compute a rough probability. This method keeps forecasts grounded, blending statistical reality with context instead of choosing one perspective. It also makes disagreements productive, as people can debate assumptions, base rates, and evidence rather than personalities. Write the question in precise terms. List 2 or 3 plausible pathways, and assign initial probabilities to each. Update those numbers in small steps when new information appears, noting which assumption each update depended on. Forecasting improves only when accuracy is measured, as unscored judgments cannot teach you what works. A scoring rule rewards both calibration and decisive probabilities, while punishing overconfidence when certainty is wrong. Brier scores convert forecasts into distances from what happened, so lower scores mean closer contact with reality. Benchmarks matter because some questions are easy, and skill means beating simple rules in the crowd. Weather forecasters improve by making many predictions, checking them, and tweaking models in a repeating cycle. In most organizations, forecasts are made and forgotten, so there is no measurement, no revision, and no improvement. Keeping score turns forecasting into evidence-based thinking, where methods are tested the way other crafts are tested. It also reduces the demand for confident narratives, as performance replaces reputation as the basis for trust. Pick a handful of questions with clear timeframes, write probabilities now, and score yourself after the deadline passes. If keeping score feels empowering, please subscribe to keep learning how to measure judgment and update faster. Forecasting accuracy depends less on ideology and more on thinking style, especially how you handle complexity. One style forces problems into a single big idea, while another shifts tools as the problem demands. The flexible style uses many small clues and transition words like but and however, which keeps doubt visible. That doubt is a feature because it invites revision and reduces the urge to declare outcomes certain or impossible. A television pundit repeats one storyline across years and stays confident even as events contradict it. A careful forecaster gathers diverse sources, tests opposing evidence, and adjusts probability estimates when the balance shifts. Active open-mindedness treats beliefs as hypotheses to test, so disagreement becomes data rather than an identity threat. This mindset fits probabilistic forecasting because changing your mind is expected when the evidence changes. Build a habit of seeking one source that challenges your view, then write what would change your estimate. Practice saying, "I was wrong," then record the correction, because that single move protects you from stubborn stories. The most reliable edge is perpetual beta, a commitment to constant learning, self-checking, and belief updating. Superforecasters tend to be cautious and humble, thinking in many grades of maybe. They update thoughtfully, as when facts change, the forecast changes too, and the log captures the shift. They also check cognitive and emotional biases, reducing impulsive leaps that feel smart in the moment. When forecasters work in teams, sharing assumptions and arguing respectfully, the group can outperform isolated individuals. Diverse perspectives help because different scraps of information combine, and the aggregated estimate can be pushed toward the truth. This shows why leadership matters, as organizations must balance collaboration, dissent, and incentives without sliding into groupthink. The goal is not harmony, but a culture where people challenge claims, share sources, and keep updating together. Form a small forecasting circle, assign roles for base rates and counterarguments, then merge estimates into one number. After scoring, review what each person missed, treating the post-mortem as training rather than blame. Forecasting is not fortune-telling. It is disciplined judgment under uncertainty, practiced like any other skill. An optimistic skeptic accepts that certainty is rare, but still believes accuracy can improve through method. You learned how probabilities, clear questions, and base rates create starting points that resist panic and hype. You also discovered why scoring, calibration, and repeated updating turn forecast into feedback loops that compound. Over time, this reduces costly overconfidence because decisions reflect realistic ranges and contingency plans are chosen earlier. It also changes group decisions because teams learn to debate assumptions, share evidence, and average wisely. Start with one forecast this week, write a number, and commit to revising only when new evidence appears. Then create a simple scorecard, because measurement is the gate that turns guessing into improvement. If you maintain the perpetual beta mindset, each correction becomes progress, and humility becomes a competitive advantage. For more ways to practice these forecasting habits, please subscribe and keep building calibrated judgment in everyday decisions.